Hello YouTube friends, Dr. Teresa Ulrich here. Thanks so much for joining me today in our discussion about 3 keys to keeping seahorses healthy. In addition to the typical recommendations for stocking density, not overfeeding, and water parameters, these 3 keys may be helpful. Thanks to Nyan Frisbee, I want to give her a shout out. A couple months ago, she recommended 2 of these strategies, and my recent experience and research has proven that she is spot on. So thanks, Nyan. Well, first of all, number 3, you have to have a high quality protein skimmer on your seahorse aquarium when you're working with large seahorses. Most of the big box stores, the pet stores, aren't going to have the kind of protein skimmer that you need. So you may have to go to a specialty fish store or shop online for this. Those of you who have larger aquariums will probably want to invest in some sort of sump or wet dry or trickle filter that has a built-in protein skimmer, which is great because the bigger the skimmer, the better. If you have a smaller tank, like I do, a hang on the back style is fine, as long as it has the potential to pull out a lot of foam and liquid that contains organic matter, that invisible waste that we don't see in the aquarium but is very visible in the protein skimmer. Hang on the back models usually have some sort of intake towards the top where organic matter tends to build up. But they also do a nice job, as well as the sump versions, of collecting that organic matter, which really needs to be cleaned out almost every day. Notice the buildup in this one. You want to make sure that your skimmer is skimming, and you might have to adjust its height if you have a hang on the back filter to make sure that there is foam coming up or a loose liquid coming up that can stick to the intake tube. Now, even though I clean my collection cup just about every day, I don't necessarily clean the entire housing. So the inside part where the liquid may collect, I may not clean that part out but once a week. But that cylinder and the cap where the organic matter builds up, I definitely clean out. Tip number 2, keep the aquarium clean. That means you want to use a type of sand or bare bottom that is easy to clean, and you want to have minimal decor for the seahorses to hang onto. Here we have some live rock, which is great for biological filtration, but I find that a lot of debris collects on that. Also, if you do have hitching posts that are a little bit decorative, I recommend that you blow them off with a turkey baster, because you can see that organic matter does build up and break down in there. So I am cleaning that off. You also want to use a filter that has a high turnover rate. So a sump filter like this, where the volume of water is circulated 10 to 15 times the amount of what the tank holds, that is awesome to use. I have a smaller tank, so I just use a powerful canister filter, which also has a high volume turnover rate. But the main thing of it is you want enough water flow that it keeps the bottom clean, keeps the debris off, and prevents it from decaying. Also, it has a nice advantage of providing flow or current for the seahorses to swim in. Despite old-fashioned thinking, seahorses don't like very slow-moving water. They do enjoy current. It's also important to keep up with your weekly maintenance. Cleaning out your filter, for example. Remember, everything your filter collects, it breaks down and recycles back into the aquarium. It might be necessary to do weekly water changes with fresh seawater, or to do small little vacuuming if you have dead spots in your aquarium. Hopefully your turnover rate of your water will prevent this, but you may need to do this as well. Another thing that helps keep your aquarium clean is target feeding your seahorses. So you'll notice here that I am pouring some rinsed mysis shrimp down a tube into a little dish, and the seahorses know that this is where they go to get their food. Now, some of that shrimp does fly out, but a lot of that does get eaten up right away from the seahorses or gets pulled into the filter. But for the most part, the food stays in the dish and gets eaten and is not decaying in the aquarium. Then, number 1 tip, keep your aquarium temperature 74 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. This is probably the best tip of all. When you have aquarium temperatures that rise above 74, your seahorse chemistry and hormones that support the immune system become suppressed, and that makes it easier for harmful bacteria such as the Vibrio species to overcome the seahorses with compromised immune systems. Warmer temperatures also stimulate a virulence response in harmful bacteria, so they reproduce exponentially. If you live in an area where it's difficult to keep the recommended water temperatures for your seahorses, you may have to invest in a chiller designed for aquariums. Where I live in the Midwest part of the United States, I'm actually able to keep the water temperatures lower just by using a simple fan positioned on the top of the aquarium. So here you see a fan. It cost me a couple of dollars. This is a lid my husband built for me, and it has a slot to allow air circulation, and that works great for keeping the water with the temperatures that I like to keep it at. So there you have it. Those are the top 3 recommendations for keeping your seahorses healthy. Number 1, keep your water temperature 74 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. Number 2, keep your aquarium as clean as possible. And number 3, make sure you invest in a high-quality protein skimmer. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me, and take care.